Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Camper Report. Fresh off of a 49ers loss to the Chiefs. 44-23. Score does not tell everything for sure in this game. Wow, a lot to break down here. A lot of stories for this game. Just a lot. Feel free, guys. There's a lot of post-game shows going on right now, so I don't expect you guys. Feel free, whatever. Call in. There is the link, and then the link is also in the description. I don't know if you could actually copy it off of this banner right here, below. But Grandizer coming in, watching play-by-play via platform 246. He'd be a cool guy to collab with, Ben. He had Celts on his stream today. I checked him out. I will get him on. Now, quick announcement. I wasn't actually going to go live after the game, but I have a lot to do this week, and I'm going to try to get to bed early this week because today is, like I told you guys earlier on today. So I'm not going to be streaming this week. This will be my last stream. That's why I wanted to come on for a post-game show, because this is really and I'm sorry I haven't been having as many guests, but it is what it is. We'll have, after this week, we'll have some guests to break down this game and whatever. It's a frustrating loss. I can't say I wasn't surprised, because this is exactly what I expected. I expected the 49ers. Now, I didn't expect the defense to be this bad. When I heard Charvarius Ward was coming back, I actually was really glad. Now, I haven't really looked up any really stats from like how good he played. He did give up a crucial big play. It was 3rd and 12, I believe. I think I have it in my notes here. I was taking notes basically the whole game. Let's see. 12-11, 3rd and 12, 12 minutes left on the clock. Just a freaking huge play down the field. 3rd and 12. We had just gotten a sack from Nick Bosa. By the way, was the first sack from this defensive line. We'll get into that in just a second. First sack from this defensive line all day. And Patrick Mahomes, really the first deep throw thrown down the field all day, completes it. Charvarius Ward had gotten beaten by, I believe it was Smith-Schuster, and just a wide open play. I think it went for like 50. Just a crazy play. But my big thing for this game was when you turn the 49ers offense into a passing offense against a team like this, and this is why I don't think, now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe with Christian McCaffrey, we can cover up all those mistakes. But with a team without Christian McCaffrey, this team, when you turn him into a passing team, I said it, when you turn it into a passing team, it's not gonna work. You know, this team, when it is turned into, when they are dealing with elite quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, who pass the ball, when they deal with offenses who pass the ball and are running the ball up and down against this 49ers defense, you have to have the offense that matches that. As soon as, I think the time I realized when we were not going to win this game was, I want to say, was that first Chiefs touchdown drive to open the half. When that happened, I think they went up 21-13. I was like, this game's over. Because when you turn this offense, this 49ers offense, into a passing team, it doesn't work, because you don't have a guy who can handle more than 25 passes per game. And that's the problem. That's the problem with this team, and it really sucks. And again, it could change, because again, Christian McCaffrey was a shell of himself. And he only played 21 snaps. So it could change, but the 49ers, it was a pretty good first half. The thing is, and this is my thing, and let's start with Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's start with his good and bad. He had a few nice throws. He did. There were times before that interception, right before the end of the first half, I was like, this is the best he's ever been playing. He's doing really good. He had been a game manager, had been throwing it over the middle. That run game had been working. They had been getting Christian McCaffrey involved. And then after that interception, I think it all went downhill. But that interception, let's start with that. Back-footed, you're in the red zone. And, I mean, again, the 49ers were actually, like, even though they only scored 23 points, they were in the red zone a lot this game. I feel like up until the fourth quarter, almost every drive they made into the red zone. I think they only punted once. But back shoulder, okay? Now, this was coming off of the muffed, I believe it was punt that the Chiefs had. The Chiefs muffed the punt, and the 49ers recovered it. So they recovered it at the 15-yard line or something, or 10-yard line. So at this point, you're thinking the 49ers have an easy touchdown here. And I believe it was a third down. Jimmy Garoppolo gets pressure from his left side. We'll talk more about that as well. Gets pressure from the left side and throws it off of his back foot and throws a lob. And at this point, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? That is the stupidest throw. I mean, that throw was the most boneheaded throw I've ever seen. Interception. Chiefs get the ball back. They drive down the field in like a minute and a half. And then they miss a field goal. So we kind of got a break there. But I'm not here to break down and tell you guys what happened in this game. I think Jimmy Garoppolo's performance was decent. I just think that he made some throws. I mean, there was one play with Deebo Samuel. He threw it behind him. It just a little bit inaccurate at times. And I just don't think it wasn't good. It wasn't. After that interception, he was actually playing really good for a quarter and a half of football. And after that interception was just, it didn't come back to him. I think he was off most of the game after that. Again, he didn't play great when he was pressured to throw the ball. And that's the number one thing of this game. The Niners players have become a team that is on a franchise than rather try to improve on a franchise. Yeah. I completely agree. The Niners players have become a team that is on a franchise than rather try to improve on a franchise. Yeah, that's true. That's completely true. I know what you're talking about. It's frustrating because Patrick Mahomes out there shredding us, absolutely freaking shredding us. And it was just, I want to quickly look the difference. So let's talk about real quick the red zone. Let's talk about how the 49ers got down in the red zone and made the 49ers actually were rolling. That offense was rolling really up into the fourth quarter until the defense really started to collapse. The defense wasn't great the whole game. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. The performance was terrible the whole game. But up until the fourth quarter, that offense was rolling. They were in the red zone every drive. But the difference between the 49ers and the Chiefs this game was the Chiefs got down in the red zone and they scored touchdowns. The 49ers got down in the red zone and they scored field goals. And that was a big thing okay, so Patrick Mahomes early in the game throws an interception, okay? We're at the 30. We have great field goal position. You're thinking, okay, we could go up 14-0 here. No, we go up, we score a field goal on that drive. So opening drive, we score a touchdown. Next drive, the Chiefs throw an interception. We score a field goal. But on those type of plays, your offense has to perform. Not even a doubt about it. Your offense has to perform. And they didn't. They had, I think their chart was, so it was touchdown first drive, field goal second drive. They ended up scoring 23 points. The touchdown was at the very end. Really, they were in the red zone 3, 6, 9, probably 6 times in this game. And they converted twice on them. And really, I mean, they had a ton of chances to score more touchdowns in this game, and they just didn't. But let's talk about the penalties. And that was another big thing. Nick Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa is interesting because there was one play where the Chiefs were in the red zone. It was like a 3rd and 4, and the penalties killed us. I mean, but Nick Bosa twice in a row lined up in the neutral zone, twice in a row, and this first time it offset penalties. The Chiefs had a penalty. 49ers had a penalty. And then the second time, it gives the Chiefs a first down. And the 49ers, it gives the Chiefs a first down. And they end up scoring a touchdown because of 2 straight neutral zone infractions on that same play. And so it's like, what do you do? Like, the penalties killed us. I can look it up right here. We had 10 penalties for 81 yards. I mean, the Chiefs had quite a few penalties as well, but the thing, and that's another thing, it's like, there were times when, like, my brain is scrambled. I probably should have taken more organized notes, but like, I told you guys before, let's quickly change the offensive line, okay? I told you guys before the game, they're going to try to line up Chris Jones against Mike McGlinchey. They're going to do it. It's going to be a serious matchup. It all depends on, that's a key. That could be the difference between us losing and us winning. What did they do? They lined up Mike McGlinchey versus Chris Jones, and there were plays, especially at the end of the game, where you were like, holy shit. Like, sorry to cuss, but this team, I mean, Mike McGlinchey just gets pushed back, you know? And there were just times where Chris Jones was bull rushed him, and Mike McGlinchey just gets pushed back, and then Jimmy Garoppolo scrambles. And again, I underestimated this Chiefs defensive line. Frank Clark, Chris Jones on the outside. I mean, that safety that Jimmy Garoppolo had, when that was truly when I knew the game was over. I think all of you probably thought the same thing, was when that safety happened. I think that was really the time when I was like, okay, this game is over. There's no way that we're winning this game. Because the safety, I mean, Frank Clark just beats Trent Williams to the quarterback, and Jimmy on his blind side didn't know he was even there. And big safety there. Big safety. So offensive line, to recap that, I mean, they weren't bad, but the Chiefs knew what they had to do defensively, and they did it. The thing is the 49ers were running the ball pretty good, but the problem is Jeff Wilson, you can't run him all the time. He's going to run out of steam. Christian McCaffrey has a snap count. They tried Ty Davis Price. I mean, another talk about that. Ty Davis Price, rookie, another third round pick that really, that we drafted, another third round running back that we drafted that really hasn't worked out. I mean, they tried running it with Davis Price like 3 times, really didn't get anywhere. So this game really, and this is where the 49ers are at a disadvantage. I said it just a second ago. You know, you were actually running the ball really well, but the thing is you weren't. This game is, you have to throw the ball, because the Chiefs, I mean, they were going to score on you. You knew it. So you couldn't really run the ball too much, because you were always, the 49ers were always down. I mean, basically what the Chiefs did is the Chiefs were passing the ball at such a high level that the 49ers just had to throw the ball. And so they couldn't really control the game the way they wanted to. And that's where they were immediately at a disadvantage. Immediately. And again, I mean, this supposedly daunting defense only got 1 sack on Patrick Mahomes. And even though he's a mobile quarterback, it didn't look great. And I mean, I didn't know we'd be missing Emmanuel Moseley so much, but we were missing Emmanuel Moseley so much. I mean, Charvarius Ward was good, but he did give up a big play at the end that ended the game. I just said it was 12 minutes 11 left in the fourth quarter. But I mean, George Kittle had a good game. Let me look. Another. I mean, there were so many times. That's another thing. Like, I don't really blame. Like, let's assign blame real quick. And Damian Lee says we need a serious shakeup. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know. We're all pretty mad after this loss. Let's assign blame. I don't think that much of the blame goes to Kyle. I think his offense was primitive when they were throwing the ball, but you can't really know if that's Kyle when you have a quarterback who really isn't the greatest at throwing, or is pretty bad, actually terrible at throwing. Not the greatest, he's terrible. Correction, he's terrible at throwing. So you really you can't evaluate Kyle in this game. I don't put the blame on him. I put the blame on our defense, which is very injury riddled. But D'Amico Ryans, I just don't know what to say. I mean, defensive line wasn't great. They let Patrick Mahomes have, I mean, Travis Kelce, that was the one thing. I mean, limit him, or at least play decent against the other receivers. Like, let Travis Kelce have his game, but play decent against other receivers. They just let everyone have a good game. I mean, it didn't matter if it was Travis Kelce or Juju Smith-Schuster or whoever it was getting a big play. I mean, I think we stopped them once, but even like, okay, so this was a big turning point, I think, in the game. Like, I think a big turning point in the game was Jimmy Garoppolo and how he threw that interception right before the half. The game was already kind of trending downwards, but that did not add to it. I mean, that did not help it. Guys, we need some comments in here. Tell us what you think about this game. But, I mean, Patrick Mahomes just... Okay, so it's a third and 20. And we had they had just gotten a, I believe it was a penalty on them. It was a holding penalty. So now they're out of field goal position. They're past midfield. They get a penalty. They're out of field goal position. I believe at this point it's 1st and 20. I think they run for like 3 yards, and then they throw an incomplete. And it's like 3rd and 17, 3rd and 20, something like that. They throw a screen to Jerick McKinnon, and this guy takes it to like the 7-yard line, and he completes a 3rd and 17. And in this point, I'm like, this isn't Kyle's fault. This is the defense's fault. Like, what are you supposed to do? But it's like this defense, the discipline on this defense was terrible. When you have and I should have gotten to this point earlier. And I don't know why I've been basically ranting on, and I mean, it's probably tiring, but I should have gotten to this point earlier. And call in if you guys think, I mean, whatever thoughts you guys have on this game. But I think it's, it was, let's see. It was, I mean, the discipline on this team. Let's talk about, that is my main point. And again, I haven't really written down a ton of topics. I've just written down a bunch of notes from the game. But the discipline, one major thing missing on this game, from defense to offense, like all across the board, this team is undisciplined. When you have a Nick Bosa, your top player, going in the neutral zone, in the red zone, going in the neutral zone twice in a row, that is called discipline issues. It's called discipline issues. And it's just, this team, the penalties, there were a lot of key penalties. And the fact is, I mean, it's a 3rd and 17, and you're giving up a 1st down on that play off of a screen. That's discipline. There were penalties, a bunch of penalties in this game that were like, that was unnecessary. That was unnecessary. And the fact that you were letting the Chiefs just run all over you is undisciplined as well. That stems from coaching. That stems from the coaching. But it's like, D'Amico Ryans, I thought you were a better coach than this. I'm not really sure who to assign blame. Is it the coaches? I think in a way it is, because the discipline was terrible, and it has been all season. And that's why I think this team might not make the playoffs. I think they will, just because of the weak division. But because, again, like I said, I lined it out. I mean, if they beat the Rams, they could potentially be number 1 in the division next week. If they beat the Rams. But I'm not even sure if they will. I think the Rams are getting a little bit of confidence. I think the 49ers have been absolutely just battered these last few weeks, and it's tough. But another thing is, we were still having guys going down. Like the 49ers injuries, we still had guys going down. Like, let's quickly, because I'm talking about battered. We've been really battered down the last 2 weeks. And I'm referring partly to the injuries. And let's quickly talk about the injuries. These injuries were bad, for one, because I think it was interesting, because we were all saying, and I was saying, okay, I'm not really sure if I want to blame the training staff yet because we have been playing on bad turf. And it's just, I mean, whatever. It is the training staff. It is now 4 years in a row, 3 years in a row that we've had, like, it really started in 2019. But now it's 3 years in a row that we've had injuries out of the Yazoos. I mean, players were going down. Now, a lot of players came back. They would go down and then come back in the game. So not a lot of players were out like long term or just they went out and just never came back. Not a lot of players did that. But there were players that were getting injured in this game going down, and it was our own turf. At a certain point, you have to take accountability. And I think it's one, the front office for drafting and evaluating players that are injured. And two, I think it's the team and the office and it's the trainers. You know, that's a conditioning issue when you have players going down just randomly, just going down. I mean, and again, and another thing, like Talanoa Funga came back into this game, but he had a head scare. He goes for the guy's legs head first. And I'm like, you've just had a concussion, okay? And you go head first into the guy's legs. I mean, when a guy's legs are running 20 miles an hour and you get your head caught right in between his legs, of course you're going to have a concussion. I mean, come on. So that was another thing. Just guys being stupid. I think the trainers need to be fired after this year. But I don't know if it's the coaches or the players. I think it's actually the coaches. And I mean, Damian Lee, great point. We need a shakeup because discipline, I think, is the players, but I think it's also the coaches. It's just coaches teach discipline. Coaches. It's like the Cowboys last year and this year as well are one of the most undisciplined team. You know what that stems from? It stems from Mike McCarthy, who is undisciplined in his timeouts. I mean, last year we beat the Cowboys because of Mike McCarthy's idiocy. So it comes partly from the coaching. It starts from the top and it starts from the coaches. And what I saw, penalties-wise, there were so many freaking plays that either negated holding calls or offsides. There was a lot of offsides in this game. What was it? Oh, okay, I want to bring up another offsides, and I'm just thinking of it now. I didn't even have it written down as a note. 49ers were in, and this was actually before the muffed punt. So it was basically the muffed punt right before the half. But this is still crazy. So we're basically, it's a 51-yard field goal. I think Jimmy had just gotten sacked. 51-yard field goal. The pressure was pretty relentless for this whole game, but 51-yard field goal. And then on the 50-yard field goal, we have a full start. And so that takes us out of field goal position. We punt it, and then we obviously get the muffed punt, which led us to the Jimmy interception right before the half. And, I mean, the offensive line hadn't actually been looking bad up until this point, but then we faced Chris Jones. And, I mean, I can look at what the Chiefs, how many sacks they had, but I know pressure was relentless this whole game. They had 5 sacks. So, quite a bit of sacks. Again, guys, call in if you feel free to call in. I just am looking at the receiver stats right now. This is not a good defense, okay? Juju Smith-Schuster, 7 catches, 124 yards, average of 17 yards per catch. And he had that big play to put us away. No, it wasn't Juju Smith-Schuster who had the big play on Charvarius Ward, a 3rd and 12, big play. I believe it was still 23. It was 23-16. It was Marquez Valdes-Scantling who had that big play. He was basically wide open, like 40 yards down the field. Charvarius Ward just got beat. And I'm actually gonna post. I'm gonna post that clip on my All 22 shorts, which I usually do once or twice a week. I'm gonna post it All 22 of that play because I'm very intrigued. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, 3 catches, 111 yards. Travis Kelce, 6 catches, 98 yards. Jerick McKinnon, 2 catch, 36 yards. And he had that big screen, which went for like 30 yards or 25 yards. And that was a huge play as well. I mean, I believe it was 14. No, it was Yeah, it was 6 it was 16-14 we were winning, and I was like we need to get a stop so we can get a little bit of lead. I believe that was when it was. Um and another thing is like I think it is like assigning more blame. I think it is slightly Kyle because Kyle is the guy who comes up with the play calls. I mean, in this game, it was you were throwing screens to Christian. It was creative. But we saw the same old freaking thing that we see every game. We have now, actually, we were consistently in the red zone. But okay, me and the dream is coming in. Let's go. Uh man, this is freaking crazy. But anyways, the same old thing that we had. I mean, red zone, Kyle Shanahan, I didn't see very much creativity from him. I really didn't. I didn't see, and we were in the red zone a lot, but we never could convert. And as soon as we got past the 30-yard line, we always were stuck. And I mean, the discipline yeah, it was a bad loss. What are your thoughts? If you're there, are you there?
It was horrible. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah,
Like it was just horrible. Like this game was not fun to watch on any level. Like the
no,
offense was garbage, the defense was garbage. Like it was a complete team loss. Coaching was garbage, special
yeah,
team was garbage. Everybody sucked today. So like I'm not gonna blame one specific person, but me and you did a show, and what did we both say? If you play a team like the Kansas City Chiefs and your defense struggles and you have to
yeah,
go into like a shootout with the Kansas City Chiefs team or go into a shootout with an elite offense, I don't know if the Niners can do that. Do they have
yeah,
the talent to do that? Sure. But will they actually go out and do that and execute that? No. And they showed that today. I'm not going to blame only the offense, but it was just bad. No discipline. The whole first half, it felt like the Niners would get like a first down and there would be like a
yeah,
holding penalty, and then that would move us back 10 yards. Or the Niners would get a third down stop, and then Nick Bosa neutral zone infraction. Like, it was so bad that, like, no discipline. The offense was bad. Everybody was bad. Like this was a complete team loss. Like it was not fun to watch, and it was just really really bad on every level. It was really really bad. And I'm gonna say it right now. I think yes, the way that the NFC is right now, this team can still make the
no, yeah,
playoffs. But I don't expect this team to win the Super Bowl this year. I simply
no,
do not, because the most likely, I could say confidently, if I had to bet on the AFC team to make the Super Bowl, it would either be the Bills or the Chiefs.
yeah,
Most likely, right? Those are the two teams with high-powered offenses that are most likely going to make the playoffs. Are most likely
hmm
going to make the Super Bowl. If you have to go and play one of those two teams, you're not beating those two teams because your offense is just not good enough.
I don't care if you have Christian McCaffrey at this point. I don't think. I mean, I guess I think this game would have been a lot closer with him, but it really depends on the coaching. And I didn't really see that much creativity even when he was in the field. I really didn't see Debo Samuel going in motion too much. I didn't see. I mean, they ran a few end arounds with Debo Samuel, but it's like this offense wasn't bad. It was an exciting game, but like the defense, I think was the bigger story. Because
Yeah,
they were just getting
yeah.
themselves, I mean, just absolutely slaughtered up and down the field. And I remember, I think it was 23-16, no, 21-16. And I was like, if we can just get a stop here, like, and we almost had that stop. I believe it was the screen to Jerick McKinnon that went for like 30 yards. Remember that? Do you
That's
remember?
unacceptable. That was just
Yeah.
unacceptable.
And we had him because they had just been knocked out of field goal position. It was 3rd and 20. And it's like, okay, finally, this is the stop that we can get to finally put this game away and maybe get something going. And it ended up not being yeah, well, they ended up converting and scoring a touchdown, is what I'm trying to say. So,
Yeah, like and that's the thing, like missed tackles defensively,
yeah.
penalties defensively, like they literally not even just this Kansas City game. They would go up against like the Bears, like in all the whole season. There's been at least one time, if not more, where they should have made a stop on third downs, but because of a penalty or a missed tackle, the other offense will get another set of downs. Like it's been so undisciplined by the Niners this year. It just simply has been. And this Niners team, like I said, I think they can still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Sure. But like you really don't have that easy of a schedule now. Like we got Miami, and as much as people like Miami, who cares? Like Tua and Mike McDaniel have been great together, and they've literally beat the Bills when
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa was his quarterback. You have the Rams next week who are fighting and who are at 500 right now, but they probably want to bounce back. And then after the bye week, you have the Chargers.
That was a surprising loss that they lose today to the
They
Seahawks.
lost
That was
today, and that's
interesting.
what. See, that's the thing. If I told you that Seattle would be number one, like let's name Seattle's good players real quick: DK, Tyler Lockett,
Tyler.
Kenneth Walker, who's been solid for them. But like, who else do they really have that you could say is a star in this league?
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's like Geno Smith is now an MVP candidate. What it
Geno Smith has been dominating this year. They
and
literally just blew the brakes off one of the
yeah.
best offenses in the league. They killed the Chargers today. If you
Yeah.
watch, obviously I wasn't watching that game, but just looking at the box score, they killed the Chargers offensively today. Geno Smith was throwing dimes today. Like it was so like, and that's the thing. Seattle is
I
a lesser talented team, and they're number one in the division. The Niners are a much more talented team, and they're struggling. And they've lost to so many bad teams this year. I don't even
I
know what to say.
I think you have to put Carroll into the coach of the year, because I even said even if the Seahawks go 10-7, 9-8, he has to be in that coach of the year, because nobody I ever have talked to was expecting them to do that good this year. And it's like this team is looking. And here's the thing: they've played almost the same amount of hardness of their schedule. I mean, they've played. Have they played? I don't think they played the Rams, but they've almost played a harder schedule than us, and they've won more games, and they've looked more exciting. And I don't even think they've even played easier teams than we have. So it's like I don't know. I mean, this do you agree with Damian Lee that they should have shakeup? I mean, I think we staked our claim on Christian McCaffrey, and if we can't turn it around soon, we're heading in a bad path. I don't know. I think you have to consider firing Kyle Shanahan after. I don't even know. I mean, D'Amico Ryans was pretty bad today too. So it's like, I
I
mean, what happened?
mean,
I don't even know.
last week I was mixed. I said no to Kyle Shanahan. Like the more if we continue to like as the season goes on and we continue to lose games like this or we're struggling, like yes, I think it should be in consideration. Now, would I say like 100% fire Shanahan, fire him right
No.
now? No, but if we struggle and we can't make the playoffs with this talented of a roster, like then I think yes, it should be in consideration. Now, should I say you should definitely fire him? Like no, but it should be in consideration, especially if we don't make the playoffs with this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand if the Niners are in the AFC, but you're in the NFC. The whole NFC is struggling right now, and
Yeah.
like the Bucks are 3-4. Like the whole NFC is struggling right now. The best division is the NFC East, which was known as the NFC least literally seasons before.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Uh, SC Warriors says bench Jimmy. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like I don't even know what to say. I was devastated. I knew we were gonna lose, but when I heard Charvarius Ward was coming back in or was playing, I was like, okay, maybe we could win. And then kind of led us into a false hope. I mean, Jimmy was playing good for that probably almost 2 quarters. And then that interception at the end was the most boneheaded thing. But I mean, what do you expect? I mean, we know who he is. I knew he was probably going to throw at least one interception. Mike McGlinchey, absolutely. And that was another takeaway.
Just
Absolutely got
garbage,
manhandled by
garbage.
Chris Jones. And I knew that was going to be a key. And another thing is like, you can let Travis Kelce have his yards, but they freaking let everyone have everything. Like, I mean, you had three players over 100 yards receiving, and Patrick Mahomes just absolutely tear you apart. It doesn't even matter. It basically every throw was a completion. I think I can look up the stats, not look him up, but I can quickly look at them. I have them right here.
The defense
Patrick
was
Mahomes, 25 for 34, 423 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception.
the defense was allowing almost like 9 to 10 yards per play. Like it was
Yeah.
atrocious. And that's the thing. This whole loss was a team loss, from special teams down to coaching, down to like
Mm-hmm.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Just a specific game. But like I said, like we said it a couple of weeks ago, that you're gonna be facing some of these elite level offenses. And when your defense doesn't have as good of a game and they're struggling, and they also have injuries to be fair, but is your offense going to be good enough? And they
Yeah.
weren't enough today, right? Do they have the talent? Yes, but they weren't good enough today, and that's the thing. This team is like I said literally like a couple of minutes ago, but this team is probably not going to win the Super Bowl this year
Yeah.
because we literally have injuries almost every single game. Like Dre Greenlaw got hurt,
Yeah.
Talano Funga went back in the blue tent. Like we have injuries every single week. You could name one prominent starter or someone that a lot of Niners fans know go down every single game. There's someone that just goes down. It's been happening for weeks. It's been happening for years. Some guy every single week goes down on the Niners that like a lot of us like, oh, Dre Greenlaw this week. Like we have injuries and I don't know, man. I don't think this team. Hopefully, this team can turn it around. But if
Hmm.
fans expect us to go 3-5, then have a miraculous, turnaround again and make it to the NFC Championship game again, like they're just it's most likely not gonna happen. This
And
Niners team,
go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, no, like this Niners team, like it's hard to replicate what they did last year. Last year was like Cinderella story stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to replicate that. It really is. What they did last year was spectacular. This year you have a lot more tough games, and like with the injuries that you guys have so far, like it's not looking good. Like it really isn't. You have Emmanuel Mosley out for the whole year. Like the more injuries that pile on, the more this offense is struggling. The more injuries that we have, like this team is getting more injured, more depleted week by week, and this team hasn't been looking good so far. There's literally no positive takeaways from this game. Zero, zilch. There was no positive takeaways from this game at all.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I think these injuries definitely have to be a training staff, plus also just the way we've drafted. I think it is a root issue in the front office because we do tend to draft these players who have dropped in the rounds because of their injury history, and then we draft them hoping to get a big reward. Sometimes it works out, but it really doesn't. And so it's like, I think it's partly the front office, but a lot of it is, I think, the training staff, which I'm surprised we didn't fire him last year. But we're just getting the realization we have to fire the training staff. Um, and we'll see, man. But I might have to end the show. So thank you for hopping on. It was fun talking
Yeah,
to
I
you.
got I gotta head on out of here. Also, I appreciate you for taking my call, man.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I mean, thank you.
You
But
keep doing
yeah,
your thing, bro. Keep doing your thing.
yeah. I probably won't be back this week again for a show, but I'll have a few more guests on next week. So we'll be back after this week.
Peace, bro.
Yep. See ya. Everyone, unless anyone else is going to call in, I don't think so. We did have quite a few people in here, but I love talking 49ers, so I'll talk 49ers to no one for 4 hours. It doesn't matter. Let's go Dolphins. Let's go get pumped, finsed up. Yeah, so real quick, fantasy. Jalen Waddle needs to have a bad game. I don't even know if he's playing, but Jalen Waddle needs to have a bad game for me to win in fantasy. Let's see. Jalen Waddle, he needs to have a bad game. And then Freiermuth. Can the Dolphins do one thing? Please limit Freiermuth, Grandizer. Please. Please. But yeah, we'll see you guys again later. I'm gonna go have some dinner. I'm gonna go drown my sorrows. And we'll probably be back next. I want to say next. I'll be back next. Probably next week. So this is a sad loss for sure. I knew we were going to lose, but I didn't know it'd be in this fashion where our team was actually in it for 3/4 of the game, looking pretty good. And of all the things, I did not expect it to be our defense that actually lost us this game. Like, even though the offense is pretty bad, it was a complete team loss, like Amin said, but the defense was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. It was terrible. Anyways, guys, I'll see you later. Man. I might have to become an Eagles fan. I'm just kidding. We'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your night.